Hey there, I am Joel,
And I'm Michelle.
and we're the Wandering Hearts. And in this video, we're going to talk about our cost of living for our time in Fajardo, Puerto Rico, living as nomads.
Yes, so we're going to cover expenses like accommodations, our grocery costs, dining out, transportation, some of our experiences that we did in Puerto Rico, and then our fixed costs like travel insurance, our phone plan, and our VPN.
So, obviously, living as a digital nomad or as an independent, location independent person in Puerto Rico is going to be quite a bit higher than, say, living as a local or even like an expat. Mostly because you're going to have a lot higher expenses for accommodations, and you're not going to be renting cars, things. There's a lot of factors that go into that. And also because Puerto Rico is literally in paradise, right? It's in the Caribbean and it's absolutely gorgeous. We absolutely loved our time there. So first, a couple kind of give you some ballpark idea of some numbers. According to Numero, the average cost of living for someone living in Fajardo, Puerto Rico is $2,400 a month. And then if you do it, we did a quick search like a Nomad list, and according to Nomad list, they were putting that same number somewhere around a little over $4,000 a month for the same. Now, of course, those are for San Juan, which is slightly maybe a little bit more expensive than Fajardo, but it gives you kind of a ballpark idea to start with.
So first, let's talk about accommodations. This is always our biggest expense when we're traveling as nomads. So we booked a spot through VRBO at the Panama Ocean Club, and this came with 3 pools, I think, and it had a gym. So there were a couple extra amenities that were actually really nice. So we had it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Had a really big kitchen, a really nice living room, and we had a huge balcony that overlooked the marina. So we spent a lot of time out there, and it was super nice.
So you're probably thinking, yeah, 2 people, 3-bedroom, yeah, what gives? And well, originally we were supposed to have some other people join us, and so that's why we kind of ended up going for the bigger space. And then unfortunately didn't work out. So it just ended up the 2 of us in this huge space, which was still good. We made the best of it. Nonetheless, our accommodations were definitely the most expensive part of our stay there. In fact, if you want to talk about our cost, because it's a vacation rental through Vrbo and everything, our rent was $28.50 for the whole time there, and that included our utilities as well. Now, as far as like what a normal cost might be, or kind of give you a better idea of the range, according to Numero, like a local's cost living there for the same size place would be closer to like $1,600 with another $280 in utilities, so bringing it somewhere around $1,800 or $1,880 for the total. And then if you look at Nomad list, which of course does a pretty good job of kind of giving you estimates based on our lifestyle, because you're always in these short-term places, you're not getting the best deal, but that comes in at $3,300. So overall, based on that, it sounds like we came in a little under for at least for the size of the space.
Yeah.
So actually, if you're interested in seeing a tour of it, we actually did a full video. I will link it up here where you can watch on our channel of this whole place, as well as some other videos too about our time in Fajardo. So next up, we're gonna talk about groceries. Grocery costs in Fajardo they weren't too bad. Basically, the great thing about Fajardo is that there's actually quite a few grocery stores. In fact, probably the most popular one that we went to was the Econo, but there's also like a Ralph's, which is kind of more of a fancier grocery store. And then there's also Pueblo, and there's even a small Walmart, although it's chaotic. So
I think we hit all the grocery stores.
We did. We hit every grocery store we could find. But mostly our costs for groceries, the way we travel, and especially specifically with our time in Fajardo, was for like breakfast, snacks, our adult beverages like beer, wine, things like that. That also includes our household items, so toilet paper, detergents, all of that kind of stuff. Soap, and especially since with a lot of the vacation rentals, one bummer is that we have to almost constantly be buying extra toilet paper and dish soap and all of those normal things that might last for a couple months. But a lot of the places that we stay don't have those for whatever reason.
Yeah,
So,
we're buying them over and over.
yeah. So that adds a little extra to our costs as well. Also, we basically had like pretty much all of our dinners was what we mostly ate in and cooked the entire time. I mean, why wouldn't you with the absolutely gorgeous kitchen and a lovely view? So, but anyways, overall, our groceries in Puerto Rico we found were generally a little bit more expensive than what we had experienced recently in the last few places that we've lived. Like we had spent a bunch of time in Florida. We lived for like 20 something years in Tennessee. And then we also spent a bunch of time in Wisconsin and even Washington State. So compared to all of those like different parts of the US, we definitely say that Puerto Rico's costs for groceries were a little on the higher side, slightly more. Now, in addition to that, you'll notice that a lot of stuff has to be imported from the mainland to Puerto Rico, and that adds it. Now, the prices on those items didn't seem to really be that, I mean, just a slightly more, but the big thing we noticed was that you actually get smaller packages. So instead of, a 2-liter Coke, it was a 175 liter of Coke for basically the same price.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little things like that you noticed that kind of eats into your costs with the groceries in Puerto Rico. So there's one area that was actually a little bit cheaper, and that was with like local like beers and seltzers and of course rum. But there was one other thing that kind of set us back a little bit, and that was
yeah, the wine was quite a bit more expensive than what we were used to paying, especially coming from Florida. It seemed like prices there were a lot more reasonable. So I think the cheapest bottle of wine I found was like $10. So I mean, it's not terrible, but yeah, I was spending probably anywhere from $10 to $15 for a bottle of wine.
and that would have been what in the States? That same bottle?
Probably, yeah, like 7 or 8.
Okay.
I think dollars. So yeah, definitely more expensive.
Now, like we mentioned already, as far as a grocery store is concerned, you can definitely find beer and wine and stuff for a little bit cheaper. Beer is going to run you about $6 to $7 for a 6-pack. But like we mentioned before, everything's smaller. So like the 6-pack cans were like 10 and 8-ounce cans of beer for that same price. And then like a bottle of wine, like Michelle mentioned, would run you somewhere between $10 and $20 a bottle. Whereas like a good Puerto Rican rum could be found for as little as $10 for a 750. Now our total grocery costs, again, including beverages, snacks, household, all that kind of stuff, was $873.41. So seems like a lot, but
It does seem like a lot.
that's what it was.
Oh.
Again, like I said, we ate almost every meal, and that's including all those other things. So talking about meals, let's talk about dining out in Fajardo.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about our dining out. And like we said before, we didn't dine out hardly at all. I think just maybe a couple days in the month. And we spent $179.44. So not too bad when you think about it. Just to give you some idea of the drink costs, beers at restaurants, they're anywhere from $2.50 to $3.50, and wine was about $6.50 to $10 for a glass. So not terrible pricing, about the same as mainland United States. Okay, so next up we're going to talk about transportation costs, and we actually got a really, really good deal on our car rental, and it's probably the best deal that we are ever going to find or ever will find on Puerto Rico. So just know that this is not normal, and we did rent through Sixt, which was fine. We didn't have any trouble with. So just keep that in mind when we tell you the total cost for that.
Yeah. So another thing, if you're curious about it, as far as if you're coming from the U.S., at least, your U.S. driver's license will cover you to rent in Puerto Rico. We actually have a whole article and even a video about it. In fact, I'll put the video up here, and article will be in link in the description. And that's actually an updated article too. We keep that one updated. Also, our state auto insurance actually covered, our stateside auto insurance rather, actually covered us as well, especially for like liability. You will definitely want to check to make sure that your policy will cover you that way. And of course, that saved us a lot by not having to buy any additional insurance. And then one final thing that we used to save money on that one was also we used our Chase Sapphire Preferred card. And basically it's got a lot of travel benefits on it. And as do a lot of other, like most of the Chase cards do. And then also, so definitely check that too, because that basically covered our damage waiver, which was really nice. Because with that, you can actually go up to, I think it's up to 30 days or 31 days straight on a rental, and to get the damage waiver coverage automatically. We go into a little bit more detail in our article, but that's also like a little hack there if you want to do that and save a couple bucks. You just don't want to go over that time, because if you go over, then like if you do 2 months on one rental, then you end up, it doesn't work. So you won't be covered.
And just one more thing too, also keep in mind that you do need a car in Puerto Rico. Like there's just no way around it, unfortunately. If you're going to be out of San Juan, so we were in Fajardo, and you just need one to get to experience all the beaches and everything else that you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, there are some tours that you can book that will take you out to do like day trips and things like that. But if you're going to be there any long term at all, like for more than a week, you know, and you're wanting to see lots of different parts of the island, then because their public transportation there it's not very robust. So what were the costs?
So cost. So for our rental car, it was $408.60. Gas and tolls, we spent $41. And then, like we said, our car insurance was covered through our credit card. And that brings us to a total of $449.60.
Yeah, that's like crazy cheap.
Yeah.
Because the last time I looked it up, it was like $1,100 just for a month. So, and again, that fluctuates depending on the season. But yeah, we got a really, really, really good deal on that one.
So next up is experiences. And this is all the fun things that we get to do when we get to a new place and we're trying to kind of explore where we're at. And most of the things that we do, we are booked through Viator or Get Your Guide. And we will leave links in the description below with those. Couple of things. We already have our sail and snorkel that we did in Puerto Rico, so you can check that out.
Yeah, and also there's actually a lot of other things that we did too that were free. We spent a lot of time at the beaches, both in Fajardo itself and just right next door in like Laquillo. Also, we went to the El Yunque rainforest. But by far our best experience, our favorite experience, was that sail and snorkel that Michelle mentioned, where we went to the Cacos Islands, which is kind of like this deserted island chain just right off the coast of Fajardo. It's actually why a lot of people come to Fajardo for that, and usually for also going to like the Bio Bay and everything, the bioluminescent bay. We didn't actually do the Bio Bay, but we drove by it all the time. So the most expensive thing, of course, was that sail and snorkel, and because that took us out for the day essentially, and also had provided lunch and some drinks and everything else too. So it was actually a pretty cool experience. Now, the total cost for both of us doing all of our experiences, both the free stuff as well as the things that we booked, was $199.04. So like we said, most places that we stay at, we're there for weeks or even months at a time. And our stay in Fajardo was actually pretty chill overall, because we were mostly focused on working and focusing on our work-life balance, because we do have a travel website and, plus this channel here. So we're always trying to like figure out like how to like live, play, repeat, and Fajardo was really great because it was probably one of the best work-life experiences that we've had, at least in the last year or two. So.
Okay, so let's get into our fixed costs while we are traveling full-time. We normally use travel medical insurance through Safety Wing, but we did not need to use it for this trip to Puerto Rico since it is part of the United States. So I'm already covered in the US, and so is Joel. So that was one less cost that we needed.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Safety Wing, we did do a video about that. You can check that out too. Also, we have our phone service, And we use our mobile phones like constantly. Obviously, that's like practically an extension of us while we travel and everything. Everything from looking up, maps, using the Google Maps or whatever to find locations or just navigate to, of course, documenting stuff or taking notes. And our service is through T-Mobile, and basically it's exactly the same as it was in the States. We had actually really good coverage there. And again, you're not traveling overseas. It's considered a U.S. territory, so you're just like in the States. You don't have to worry about like going over your limit or whatever on your plan. At least we didn't have it. We are actually on the Magenta plan while we're there, and with that, you'll notice that our cost is a little bit less maybe, and that's because I also, since I'm a veteran, I can take advantage of a discount through T-Mobile. So if you are in the same boat, if you're a first responder or whatever, definitely look at that because it'll save you like 15% or something. So, and then one other thing that we did too, and that's our VPN. And we travel everywhere we go. We use a VPN, especially for financial transactions or anything of sensitive information. Of course, there's other benefits to VPNs, and we won't go into all of that. But geo-locking, like Netflix or whatever. But Puerto Rico is just like the United States, so you don't have to worry about any of those things. And then one last thing I will mention too, and that is like our entertainment. Our T-Mobile plan does include some streaming services as well, and that would be like Netflix and Paramount and Apple TV or whatever. So that's already included, which is a little bit of a benefit too. Yeah. So our total costs were for mobile and internet was $87. Our VPN was actually really cheap because it's $2.21 for us on a monthly basis, and that's mostly because we did like a 24. Like we bought for like 2 years in advance, so you get like a couple extra months and stuff. So that turns out to be a really good opportunity or really good bargain for us too. And then finally, we had a couple miscellaneous costs as well, and that's everything from like sunscreen to needing a locksmith in the jungle, where we locked our keys in our car while we were in the Yunque rainforest right before closing. That's a whole thing. We actually had it's a funny video if you want to watch that. Again, lots of videos you can watch. You can watch that there too. But that was $107.85 total.
Okay, our total costs then for living in Fajardo, Puerto Rico for 1 month were $4,749.10. So yeah, that is quite a lot for us. It's quite a bit over our budget. And Puerto Rico for us was, it was living in paradise. It was absolutely beautiful. We loved it. We did 2 months there. We probably won't go back for quite a long time, just because it's quite a bit over our budget. So, you can spend what we spent. You can spend probably a lot less, especially on accommodations, or you can spend more. It just kind of depends on on your budget and kind of where you are and how much you make. I know, obviously locals spend way less than that than we did. So, but like I said, this is not normal for us. Our budget is usually half.
Closer to half that. So and so obviously, again, like she said, all the experiences you do, and whether you do more, you can spend as much as you want or as little as you want. Those are all factors that play a part in there. And again, as digital nomads or as, travel bloggers and all that stuff too, our costs end up being a lot higher anyways, no matter where we go. And again, because we're not able to benefit from, discounts you get for renting places for long term or owning a car somewhere, or, that kind of stuff. So, we're used to that. This is definitely one of the highest, most expensive places that we've stayed. Where a lot of places that we've stayed have been usually a little less than, maybe the average in the States, but this one was definitely on the higher end of that. So, and again, this is for 2 people too. So 2 people with our, who like to, drink some wine and like to have some experiences, and again, renting a car for this whole time. So finally, to kind of wrap everything up, I don't know what else I can say other than, these are all of our costs that don't include like little things like maybe buying a pair of pants or something like that, or replacing something like that, to those. Those obviously are going to be specific to your situation. Also, we didn't include travel costs like flying there, again, because that's, we basically, we just want to show you what it costs to live in the place, as a nomad or as an expat or something like that. Or if you're planning on moving to Puerto Rico, this at least gives you some kind of an idea on some of the expenses. Obviously, you can probably do better on accommodations, or you can find an even better place that we did, if your budget allows it, so that's going to be all on you. Overall, we really truly enjoyed our time in Fajardo, Puerto Rico. Like we said, we spent another month in Puerto Rico, so we'll have a video about that coming out soon. We'll do another cost of living for our time for our second month, because we ended up staying on the other side of the island.
The west side.
On the west side, yeah. The west side is the best side, right? No, they're both awesome. But anyways, so if you guys are interested in that stuff, definitely come back, check that out. Also, you can check out our website for a lot more travel articles about Puerto Rico and other places, and plenty of videos on the channel as well. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you got something out of this. Let us know in the comments if you have questions or comments, or if you know of like more resources and places for other people who are watching this video to get even better deals than we did. That would be awesome. So thanks so much.
Thanks so much, guys. Happy wandering.
Happy wandering.